Hello and welcome to the Gather Round edition of Fox Sports Lab AFL. I'm Ben Dixon, your host, goal-kicking guru Jason Dunstall, and our stats guru stand-in Jack Heverin. Welcome, gentlemen.
Dicko.
I love how he opens up every week. He's just straight down the barrel.
There's that sort of delay and that nervousness before he says hello, isn't it? Yeah.
Jack,
it made me nervous.
It is nervous because we're just changing up the Dunstall Don't Argue segment for the first time because after 4 rounds, I reckon he's got his eye in. So the Chief's going to give us his best impersonation of a stockbroker today. Buy, hold, sell. Any which way you want it, Chief.
Yep.
Where are you going to start with it today?
Well, it's actually a really appropriate time 4 weeks in to do an AFL stock market assessment. We're going to start with the Saints, and we are selling. They are returning a magnificent dividend, and you don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Big games coming up against Collingwood and Carlton, so expect that stock to dip. If they take care of Port and North after that, we may reinvest. Now, the big alert of the day is Essendon. Sell immediately. At 3-1, we've got a great return on a stock that we initially had grave doubts about. They've got Melbourne, Geelong, Collingwood, and then Port away. These stocks will never be as high as they are right now. Get out today. Right. Geelong took a big dip to start the season, but we think now is a really good time to buy. Not convinced it's going to be long-term, but we should get a good short-term margin on that, given they've got West Coast, Sydney, Essendon and Adelaide, and 2 of those, Sydney and Adelaide, are at GMHBA. So over the next month, we'll pick up a few rubles there. The speculative stock of the day. Now, I'm going with Freo. Don't panic, Dicko. I'm just going to just a few shares, just dip the toe in the market. The stocks are at an all-time low, so it's not costing us much. They've got the Suns in Adelaide, then they've got the Bulldogs at home, Brisbane away, then the Hawks at home. Win 2 of those 4, we get a return. Win 3, we clean up. So that'll do me nicely. We'll reassess in 4 weeks whether it's worth getting them back. Couple to mention, Carlton, who you love. I'm still not 100% convinced about their bona fides, but they're performing well, so we hold on to that stock. Collingwood, forget all about the talk. No ruckman and being in trouble. They're not going anywhere. This is a blue chip stock that will continue to give a nice yield. So we hang on to those. And the big market watch is Port Adelaide. Don't know what's going on there. The volatility in the market. They had a massive spike in round 1, then a massive dip 2 and 3. Another little spike round 4, so we'll just keep an eye on that one. Not really sure how it's going. A few quick individual stocks to look at. Harry Sheezel, yes, the prices are going through the roof, but I don't think we've hit the ceiling yet, so we can still make money there. Brodie Grundy. Now, this was a stock that was great for us a few years back. Been off the market the last 2 seasons, back on the market now. And finally, Mason Wood. Again, a stock that costs you nothing. Get in while it's performing, and then we'll get out further down.
He's finished with the pink sheet, Jack.
There's a bit to take in there, isn't there?
There's a lot. Now, I'm going to go back to the very start, the Saints. I was interested to say it's at an all-time high and just get out now. Sell your stock. What do you think?
Well, I think one thing we would learn, this is not Jason's first time playing the stock market. He knows exactly what he's doing, more than you and I know. The thing with St Kilda, I think the magic number here is 227 because that is all they've conceded in the first 4 rounds of the season so far. That sort of footy holds up at the back end of the season, but still scoring 91 points a game. And still got King, Membry, Billings, Steele, Caulfield, Zach Jones still to come. The sky's the limit for the Saints, I think.
And I want to ask you quickly on the Cats, because everyone's like, OK, it took a half a footy, now their stocks are going to go back up, but where do you have them?
Rising quickly. And I know they only beat Hawthorn last weekend, so let's not get too carried away, but we saw the value of Mitch Duncan coming back in, 31 disposals. Tom Hawkins only kicked 5 goals for the year. That's not going to stay the way all year long. He kicked 67 last year, took 10 marks against the Hawks as well. So they've been a bit slow to get going, but I reckon their best is yet to come.
Soft draw next month.
And you mentioned Harry Sheezel.
Yep.
Will Ashcroft, I know you didn't have him in there, but from a stock perspective, after his round 1, he would have been a good buy.
Well, he came as a premium, though, because he was the rising star favourite, so hard to get a return on that. We just think Sheezel on an upward trend. Jump in, jump out. All good. Money to be made, Dicko.
Just quickly, how did my last stock tip go to you?
No good. And how are your tips going?
Awesome. We'll get to that later. That's our Dunstall Don't Argue segment. And as far as stockbroking go, I reckon the Chief has shown the Wolf on Wall Street a clean set of heels. Our first look at the games in Adelaide this weekend, and the key injuries have come at a bad time for the Tigers and the Swans. Chief, can Richmond overcome Tom Lynch and no Toby Nankervis this weekend?
It's an interesting one. I mean, they're key players, aren't they? But you take out of the Swans the two key defenders in Paddy and Tom McCartan, no Buddy Franklin as well. So how do you weigh it up? They're worrying me, the Tigers. They played a great second quarter last week, but that was it. Sydney dropped a game against Port at home that they shouldn't have. So this, to me, was a toss of the coin. I just went with the Swans.
I'm with the Swans too. Last 2 weeks, they've been the number 1 team for inside 50s, but number 17 for scoring. So if they can get that side of their game right, Chief, I think they could put a big number on the board against the Tigers.
Yeah, I like Richmond. I reckon system stands up over the Swannies. And
System
don't
ain't
give me that
working
look.
thus far. Keep going.
All right. Okay, moving right along. Jack, Dockers versus the Suns. This looms as the Coach Killer Cup when we look at it.
It does. For the Gold Coast Suns, who were really, really disappointing last week, let's not sugarcoat that. They've lost their last 12 in South Australia. So going into gather round, it's not a good number. Based off what we saw last Saturday night, I'm not sure how you could tip them right now, the Suns, to be honest.
Well, I'm going for the Suns. They got hold of the Dockers comfortably last year. I know that was up at the Gold Coast, but I just don't think Freo are travelling particularly well.
Oh, awesome. Well, I'm opposed to Jason and Jack here. I'm tipping the Tigers, but Jason is tipping the Suns. Give us strength. The Bombers are 3-1 to start the year, but Chief, looks like they're headed for a demon-sized wake-up call this Saturday. It's going to be a tough ask up against the Demons.
It is. Demons are, absolute cream of the crop, so I think they'll be far too strong for the Bombers. But if you're a Bombers fan, you probably enjoyed the first month, Jack. I reckon enjoy it while you can, because it might be slim pickings over the next month or so. I just think the Demons are a better team.
Whack, whack. It's been a good start, but there go their hopes for the season. They're good travellers, the Demons. When they packed their suitcase, they won 13 of their last 14. So it's a good record going into gather round. Plus, in their last 4 matches at the Adelaide Oval, they've led it every single change. So this ground will be almost like a second home ground for them.
And good to see Jake Stringer, the package, back.
Yeah, but he needs to kick straighter if they're going to be any hope whatsoever. 4-6 ain't getting it done.
I just love how he finds a negative out of everything I say. That's awesome. All right, the match between the Power and the Bulldogs shapes as another hard-fought affair. Jack, is the home ground advantage, when we look at it, everyone's playing over there this weekend, but is it with the Power with you?
I think for Port Adelaide it is. They've won 61% of their games at the Adelaide Oval. The Bulldogs aren't great travellers. The big question I've got about Port Adelaide is their defensive side of their game. They're third last in the competition for points conceded. So they either can't defend or won't defend. And against the Bulldogs team who can catch fire pretty quickly and score, that's going to be the big challenge for them.
Don't sit there with your percentages, Jack. 61% at home. The Bulldogs win 42% away there, which is a terrific return for a travelling.
It's not 61.
Hey, they've got momentum. They were good to me against the Tigers last week. I'm sticking fat with the Bulldogs. Momentum's big in this game.
What about Charlie Dixon? Where's he right at?
He actually does play well against the Bulldogs. In fact, I think he kicks more goals against the Bulldogs than anyone else. So I'm just not quite sure whether he's at his peak. Just hoping the Bulldogs can do the right thing by me.
Well, I threw that in just to see what I'd cop for that. But anyway, we all agree on the Demons, but we do have an outlier, and that is the Chief tipping the Bulldogs to cause the upset against the Power.
Footy is life. It's loyalty, rivalry, love and pain. Footy is everything. That's why we've made a betting brand for footy fans. That's better. Chances are you're about to lose.
The team without a ruckman versus the team without a forward line is our standout match of the round and the final round of the gather over in Adelaide. Jason, Magpies and the Saints. Are we expecting the Magpies to end the Saints' winning streak?
Been great, the Saints. We've got to say what Ross Lyon's done with them has been absolutely fantastic, but they are coming up against the measuring stick right now. To me, Collingwood's been as impressive as Melbourne have. They're probably the two standout teams for mine in the 2023 season. I love how they move the footy. I'm not that far. You know what I think about ruckman, Diggo. You can do without them. You can put any blonk in there just to jump up and make a contest. But they've got great runners around the ground. I love the way they use the ball. And they've got Jordan De Goey, who absolutely loves playing against the Saints.
And I think even in their loss last week, they still scored 83 points.
Yeah.
So they're a high-scoring team, a high-volume team when it comes to moving the footy. Saints have been fantastic. They've got the best of what's available. Guys like Liam Stocker, Mitch Owens, the rising star from last week, 27 and 2 goals. He might have 6 votes already in the Brownlow, Mitch Owens, but this is a whole different kettle of fish against the Tigers.
Yeah, they'll have to. St Kilda will have to match the pressure that Brisbane put on, but also then have to hurt the Magpies on turnover. Don't know if they're good enough to do that.
Yeah, and he wasn't lying about ruckman when he captained Hawthorn. He didn't know the ruckman's name
because he
was irrelevant. All right, once again, we're all tipping against the Ross Lyon fairy tale. Surely we get it right this time. It's time to look at all our tips for the weekend. And Jason, you are starting to hit your straps. 7 from 9 in round 4. You're certainly catching fire, including the upset with the Bulldogs. What's your secret? Because I'm just trailing off as we speak.
Yeah, I tend to look at your tips and then work away from that. I figure I'm a better than even money chance if I do that.
All right, let's have a look at a couple of standout selections this week. We're all tipping the Lions to beat the Kangaroos in Adelaide Hills, but this game looms as the Rising Star Cup. Will Ashcroft and Harry Sheezel. Now, Jack, can you split the two?
I can personally, only because I think Will Ashcroft's doing it in a premiership contender / A-grade midfield. 44 of his 93 disposals so far have been contested. He's getting his hands dirty. Not taking anything away from Harry Sheezel across half back, but Will Ashcroft has slotted straight into this A-grade midfield.
I think it's a good delineation to make. I mean, Ashcroft is playing midfield, Sheezel's playing half-back. And we're not trying to say half-back's an easy position to play, but it is. I'm just saying, I think they're both great players and just enjoy watching a couple of young stars going around.
All right, Jack, is this the week they wrap Jeremy Cameron up in cotton wool, or do they let him loose and he kicks 10 against the Eagles?
Let him loose. Let him loose. Let him kick 10. The midfielders are starting to get very, very nervous right now because their award, the Brownlow medal, is in real danger of going somewhere else. And, Chief, I know this will be right in your wheelhouse. He's kicked 9 in a game before. 10 is absolutely on the cards this week.
But why would you put him in cotton wool? He's already leading the Coleman medal. He'd love to win another one of those. And unfortunately, as much as we talk about Brownlow, he ain't winning that because it doesn't go to forwards, unfortunately. It goes to those dreaded midfielders. But you've just got to think that they'll start to build a bit of momentum here, the Cats, wouldn't you? Because West Coast are undermanned. They're battling valiantly, but there's not much to offer there.
All right, well, when he kicks his 10th, can we just get the umpires out of the way? Or he'll get the spare again? All right.
Seen him up a tree.
Absolutely flushed him. All right, Chief, if you isolate the Hawks first half against the Cats, do you give them a chance on Sunday against the Giants? Because I certainly do.
Well, if you isolate them, yeah, but unfortunately, games are played over 4 quarters, Dicko. First half was terrific, but what happened in the second half? It was a disaster. The bottom fell out of the joint, dude. It was 13 unanswered, 15 goals to 1 after half time, and you want to tip the Hawks this week? How can you tip them after that? My goodness. I was horrified. I was sitting pretty at half time last week. Had a conniption after half time.
What do you reckon, Jack? Because I'm with Sam Mitchell changing it up. I just think he's got a few things up his sleeve. Get a bit of structure happening against the Giants. And
changing it up? What's he going to change?
I feel like he's got more in the locker here.
Oh, no.
What about you?
Who are you tipping?
I'm with the Giants. Absolutely with the Giants.
And they're just going too.
They're not exactly burning the house down, are they? But Tom Green's had an outstanding start to the season. 33 disposals, averaging a game. He's now realising his potential. Stephen Cornelio's top 3 in the competition for inside 50s, so he's finding a role that suits him under Adam Kingsley as well. They're not a brilliant team right now, the Giants, let's make no mistake, but I think they're a better team than Hawthorn.
Thank you. They're not
and
a
you're
brilliant
tipping
team. I'm going with the Hawks.
Based on?
Based on my head, not my heart. I actually genuinely think he changed
like
it up after round 2 and he knocked off the Kangas and we can pick it up. All right, there you have it. Now, Al Patton is away this week. He's sunning his beautiful 45-kilo frame over there in the sun somewhere. What about the shutters you'll need to have a look at Al's body? All right, Pat, let's have a look at it now because the Chief is looking at the Bulldogs and the Suns to cause the upsets while I'm looking to claw some ground back and tipping the Tigers and the Hawks. I told you that and you've gone against me, but outstanding work from you Dunstall Don't Argue winning about 8 segments today.
No, we're hanging in there. We're hanging in there, just trying to get these tips right because we've got to give people a little bit of an insight into what's going to happen. And unfortunately, you're not doing any of that. So it's Al and I, and now Jack helping this week, which is good.
All right, Chief, outstanding. Jack, thanks for coming in. You're in again next week.
Yeah, well, I think Al's going to have sunstroke, so I'll be back next week.
All right, thanks for joining us on Fox Sports Lab AFL. Make sure you subscribe below and follow us on socials, and we'll see you next week.
Footy is life. It's loyalty, rivalry, love and pain. Footy is everything. That's why we've made a betting brand for footy fans. That's better. Chances are you're about to lose.